Hi everyone, Katie May here. I just wanted to talk to you today about 6 tips for new overweight runners. Now this doesn't just apply to overweight runners, this also applies to people that don't really do anything, that aren't really active, so you can be very skinny, just have that lucky body type, and be very unfit. So there's going to be 6 tips. Now these are well researched. These are things that I personally, shaking the camera, these are things that I researched, these are things that I personally looked up and read like 100 articles on before I ever started running, ever started the C25K. So, okay, so let's get right into it. Number 1, you need to have a doctor's checkup. Now this is really important for those who are overweight. It's also important for those that aren't, very active. I don't know if you heard a while back about that teenage girl that ran a 10K and ended up dying. Later it was said that she didn't get a physical, that she hadn't gotten checked up. So that was very unfortunate, and it could have been prevented. So that really sucked. So if you can, get a physical. That's the perfect way to ensure that everything's okay. If not, at least go to your doctor and have them check you out. He might have some recommendations or some requirements, like as you're working out. For me personally, I'm asthmatic, so I have to carry an inhaler. Also, I have previous back injuries, so I always have to do extra stretches and really listen to my back muscles. Otherwise I'll end up spasming out and curling up in a little fetal position in the middle of the street, and that's just not good for anybody. Okay. Another thing that they might recommend, especially if you're overweight, is a heart monitor. Now you don't have to get one of the ones that are here and strapped somewhere. If you get a Fitbit or a Nike Fuel band, those track your heart, so you can have an idea. Alright, okay. So, number 2, you want to work up slowly. This is a common mistake with a lot of people, and you end up getting a lot of injuries. What you want to do, you don't want to jump into the C25K. I know it's meant for a couch, but really it's meant for somebody that's kind of active, that you do some sort of activity, whether it's like walking or you walk to work or something like that. If you're a very dedicated couch potato, if you are very obese, you should not jump into this. What you should do is start walking. Now, do a gradual. Do 1 mile and work to 3 miles, and then work on your speed so that you're speed walking during that. And what I did was I worked on my speed, and then I started putting intervals of jogging in. Kind of like what the C25K does, but on a very much smaller intervals. That really helped me to gauge when I was ready to start doing the C25K. Before that, I think I might have, really messed up my back, got a lot of injuries. And so there is no rush. Maybe you have a goal to run a certain race at a certain time, which is great. You should have goals. However, you don't want to rush into it. You'll end up getting a lot of injuries. You can get shin splints, tear ligaments, wreck your Achilles tendon, and that is something that will take ages to heal. So you will set yourself back. You can end up doing serious damage to your knees, to your ankles. It's just not, you should just take it slow. It'll be okay. With that, you do want to push yourself, but you don't want to push yourself too hard. So with beginner runners, don't concentrate so much on speed. Concentrate on distance. You want to run for a certain distance, not you don't want to go 10-minute miles at first. That's something that you work up to. After you're comfortable running a 5K, there are 5K speed trainers that you can do that help you get faster, where you sprint and where you would run, and run where you would walk. So that works out really well. Moving on to number 3. Now, keeping with the idea of not wanting to injure yourself, you need to stretch. At the beginning, you want to do active stretching. These are leg swings. Stretch your upper body by doing the hugs where you swing out and in. I have linked below, I believe I've linked below 2 links that will help you in stretching, telling you what the difference is between static stretching and the active stretching. Static stretching you'll do during your run, after your warm-up, and after your run. You don't ever want to do static stretching right at the beginning with cold muscles. That'll end up causing injury, but it is very important to stretch, and do not be afraid to stretch during your run. If you start cramping up, by all means, stretch. You're gonna have some soreness after you start running, and what you want to do is make sure that you stay very active. Your in-between days, whenever you're resting to heal, you want to make sure that you are going for a walk or going to the gym to work different muscles. Don't always concentrate on your legs, because you're just going to end up hurting them. At least get a walk in on your rest days for like 30 minutes, and I usually do between 2 to 3 miles on my off days, as well as doing the 7-minute workouts, or lately I have started doing Jillian Michaels 30 days shred. I do it on the off days of running. It does work a lot of your legs, but it definitely hasn't been too much for me. There is active stretching and stretching, the static stretching afterwards, as well as I end up stretching for longer periods of time to ensure that I am well stretched. Now, with the soreness that you will be stretching through, you want to make sure you're listening to your body. You don't want to end up having like a grapefruit sized knot in your leg, and you go in the doctor's going, oh, that lady on YouTube told me to stretch it out. Now, if you have serious injury, by all means go to the doctor. However, you are going to be sore, so do not be afraid, and don't stop because you are sore. Don't sit around either. If you sit around on the couch putting a heating pad on that leg all day, you're just going to make it worse. The most important thing is that you get up and move, and you stretch afterwards. And you might have to stretch a couple of times. At the beginning, I had to stretch a lot. I was sore. I'm very out of shape. It happens. While you're building muscle, there's going to be soreness. Deal with it. Breathe through it and get it done. Okay. Number 4, breathing. Breathing is so important. Breathing is important during your stretching. Breathing is important during your runs. I can't express this enough. I have had friends that it just boggled my freaking mind how much they didn't know that you're supposed to breathe during stretching. They would hold their breath. Now, when you're stretching, you're trying to get oxygen to your muscles. And if you hold your breath, it doesn't happen, people. Okay, so now that I've freaked out just a little bit, breathing is very important during your run. How you breathe is also very important. Now, you don't want to shudder breath. You're sitting there going, you're going to pass out. Then somebody's going to find you on the road. It's just embarrassing. Don't do it. So what you want to do is, now how they're going to tell you to do it when you research and read about breathing, is to breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Now, you're anything like me, I have allergies 90% of the year, so my nose is always clogged. It ends up being deep breaths in through my mouth and out through my mouth. I try to do my nose every now and then, but it just doesn't always happen. So the important part is slow, controlled breathing. You need to control your breathing. If at any point during your run you lose control of your breathing, stop. Just start walking. It'll be okay. This isn't a race to learn how to run. This is you listening to your body and knowing how to control your breathing. It is just so important that you not pass out. Besides breathing being really important to not pass out, it also helps you not to get muscle cramps. The cramps in your legs, that runner's cramp in the side, that we all got in gym class when we were little, that really helps. It's just so important to control your breathing If at any point you lose it, again, slow down. Get your breathing under control, and then you can start speeding up. Don't be afraid to do the run over. Like, it doesn't have to be that day, but just do the cycle over. It will be okay. No one's judging you. Okay, number 5. 5. Proper equipment. This is extremely important. I'm going to show you a few examples of my failure at proper equipment. First off, you want to wear loose clothing. Loose, comfortable, secure clothing. You don't want to be fighting like I wouldn't wear this out, because I constantly am fighting to keep it up on my shoulders because it doesn't want to stay. But just like, I personally wear these capri cloth pants. I think I got them at Walmart. They're supposed to be like women's pajama pants, but honestly, who wears capris for pajama pants? That's just lunacy. Anyways, so I wear them as workout. They're just black, little pink stripe down the side, great, and a white t-shirt. Now, you can wear whatever you want. I prefer white because it's hot when I run. So, you know, if I'm wearing black, which is my normal color, it tends to be hotter, and you tend to just overheat, and it's just not good. So, second one is shoes. I cannot express how wonderful it is to buy a pair of proper running shoes that fit, that are your style. Now, when I first started running, I'm going to admit this, I wore my work shoes. These lovely beauties. They are tearing, you can see, tearing. And they are all messed up from working in a kitchen. And look at this. Yeah, I put some miles on these things because I walk to work. So you don't really want to run in those. And I ran in those for a while, and then I got this pair of Skechers. Got this pair of Skechers. These are not proper running shoes either. They say they're sport, but they're really not. So they're really dirty. I'll put those back down. And in my other vlog, Ankle Buster, I'll put a link down below, I talked about the New Balance shoes that I got. Now, I really liked them until I got out and about in them, and they were just too much shoe for me. They had too thick of a heel for too much impact, and they had the hole in the middle that's supposed to, now the guy at the store, he's like, well, they're supposed to be able to put on with the tracks and blah blah. No fool. I ran on uneven pavement. That made me fall. Maybe it's just because I'm clumsy. That's a good chance. I am very clumsy. My shirt's getting all fucked up again. Excuse me. So we tried on a bunch of them. I didn't really like any of them. So we tried on this. This is a 0 drop shoe. It's like being barefooted. It's not as it's not like the toed shoes that are for bare feet that have no support. These have support for overpronation. My feet, you can't really see it in these shoes because they actually offer support. My feet turn inwards. Now this is common, especially in people overweight, for your feet to kind of tilt in. And I have very high arches. So the shoes I've been wearing for a very long time, they haven't been fitting very well apparently, and you can cause a lot of problems to your ankles and cause a lot of damage. So it's very important to get proper shoes. Now, these things are fantastic. I'm always running around barefooted, so these were just like natural for me. They're really weird looking. See this shape? They're like shaped like your foot. Now those might not be for you, but if you go to a proper runner's shoe store, see, my shirt's getting all messed up again. Okay, if you go to a proper running shoe store, they will fit you. They'll be able to tell you what type of foot you have, if you have overpronation, that sort of thing. Like, I went and stood on that thing at Walmart, the Dr. Scholl's thing. It told me that I had normal, regular feet. No, I saw my foot imprint. There is definitely a high arch. I just have this like little thin strip at the side of my foot where it touches. Anyways, so those are the two things with proper equipment. Now, you can do other things like get one of those armbands if you're going to be carrying your phone. I really suggest that. You can get cheaper ones as long as they stay on. I know a lot of people that wear them on their forearm instead of around their bicep, especially if you have bigger arms. It might be better for the forearm, and then that way you can navigate through music and whatever. The last thing I wanted to talk to y'all about is proper diet. Now, I'm not going to go into the calorie count and all that stuff on what you should eat, but that you should eat and not overeat. I mean, that's why we're trying to lose weight anyways, is just because you're exercising, you don't need to take in massive amounts of calories. But before you run, about an hour and a half to 2 hours before a run, you want to take in 200 to 400 calories with a mixture of complex carbs and protein. What that is possibly a whole wheat, not just wheat. You guys need whole wheat with the grains. Regular wheat bread is kind of just a calorie filler. It's not as good for you. But anyways, with some kind of protein. Now you can do eggs or peanut butter or whatever, but 200 to 400 calories. This does not mean for you to go out to McDonald's or your local Rudders or whatever your gas station is called in your area, and get one of those breakfast sandwiches that have like 700 calories. That's not what you want. But you want to make sure that you take in a small amount of calories, complex carbs, proteins, an hour and a half to 2 hours before you eat or before you run. If you do it any sooner, there's a good chance that you'll stop digesting during the run. And so the food will just sit there and make you sick and get you cramps, and you'll get fatigued a lot quicker, and it's just not good for anybody. I personally have started doing the Carnation Good Morning, I believe it is. It has 2 times the amount of protein as an egg. You mix it with milk. It's really good. It's like 300 calories, I think, with 1% milk. It suggests skim, but skim's nasty. It's really good. I can't do it. It's like slightly milk flavored water. Ugh. Anyways, so with that, and then when you come back from running, you want to be eating about 200 to 300 calories. So you'll get your about 500 calorie breakfast in before and after a run. Now, if you do it later in the day, by all means, follow the same guidelines. You just follow the basic rules. Please research before anybody gets started on any type of exercise program, whether it be doing the 30-day shred or 5K, couch to 5K. You need to just research the living crap out of it. There's nothing wrong with looking up everything. The more you know, the more educated you are, and less mistakes you're going to make. So I hope everybody has a great day. Enjoy your runs, and please comment below and hit that subscribe button. Bye.